Board of April, what is today? The 3rd. If we could please start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, we'll start with attendance.
So noted.
And then first, if we have public comment, if you're one of the applicants, you'll be able to speak. If it's anybody else, please come on up. All right, we'll close public comment. First, we'll start with the approval of the minutes from March 20th. We've all had a chance to look them over if there's no changes. Movement by Clerk Brooke.
Support.
Support by Treasurer Shostak. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Next, we have signs. We'll start with 6527 Telegraph Road for the Autumn House. We'll start with Andrea, and then whoever is the applicant can come up after.
Okay, great. Great, so we have all of our applicants here, so that's great. We're going to start with the first item, which is an existing sign that has been installed. Many of you are familiar with the site up on your screen. This is north of Maple Road on the east side of Telegraph, formerly known as the Samaritan Senior Housing, and then I think even before that was Maple Village. So we've got a sign that has been in existence, a ground sign that has been existing within the Telegraph Road frontage. This applicant has refaced the existing sign, so this is the branding and the logo now of the new ownership, which is now named Autumn House of Bloomfield Hills. This would not require, this would be permitted. They're refacing the existing ground sign, and we do not regulate logos on ground signs. And again, similar to last meeting, when I talked about the sign at the memory care, we don't have regulations for signage within multiple family residential. So we treat them similar and standard to how we would in terms of size and design as we would a regular commercial sign. So there's nothing that would require a variance for this proposal. I'm sure some of you have probably seen this driving up and down Telegraph. This is a custom painted PVC dimensional lettered with the Bloomfield Hills and Leaves in premium vinyl graphics. And they also, and you have within your packet, they do have some directional signage, although in speaking with the applicant, I did notify the applicant that if they would like to continue having the Autumn House logo similar to that we did at the Glens, that these would have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals, because this is a little bit above and beyond that we would consider for typical directional. So I wanted to present it as it is presented. However, I did have a conversation with the applicant who is present here, and he did understand that if he so spoke to management and they decided they do not want to proceed that route, then they would remove them. And then I said they would not have to come back here if they removed them and we could determine that they're truly directional. But at this time, you do have within your packet those locations that are interior to the site in which these signs are located. So with that, I would say that as presented, the internal signage with the logos would require Zoning Board of Appeals for secondary signage. With that, if you have any questions, I can answer. And then if the applicant would like to join us.
You want to come on up, introduce yourself?
Brian Bernini, Legend Sign. Have any questions, ask me. The only question I would have is the internal directional signs. If our client chooses to go before the ZBA, what would the general feel, and I'm not asking because I know you can't tell me if it would be approved or not, but what would the general feel be on that? The only reason I'm asking is these signs are interior in the facility. They're not made necessarily for any type of advertising purpose. It's simply to recognize what the facility is, direction. The assisted living is in front of the assisted living, and the independent living is in front of the independent living building. So I guess my general question is, do you think it would be approved if they really wanted to go before the ZBA?
We don't sit on the ZBA. It's not township employees either. It's 6 residents and
Sure.
1
Well,
township trustee.
the only reason I'm asking is it sounds like it's gone before. Is that correct?
Correct.
What was the?
There was one.
There was a similar example of it was a multiple family condo, apartments that were converted to condos, and they were granted an approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals. But they also presented, I think at that time, in all honesty, in that instance, there was some real idiosyncrasies with the layout and the directions of that development, as we all recall when we went through that. So it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I guess if anything, the board would be expected, the zoning board, not the design review board, would have to hear what it is that would be unique and why the benefit of having those logos within your development would be necessary. So that would be up to you to present your case to the zoning board on why it's necessary.
Sure.
Okay?
Like if you can show that there's like a difficulty, is it, the Glens has multiple entrances off of other roads. Yours,
Yeah.
I think, only has one entrance.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's not exactly the same, because they needed directions based on where you were coming from if you weren't the main entrance. But it doesn't also mean that they wouldn't see your package and think differently.
Sure.
It's hard to, I can never really tell. There's some things that you think are going to fly through, and there's a lot of questions somewhere you think it's not a
Sure.
big deal. And so I can't really say yes or no. But if they want it, I mean, the worst they're going to do is say no. It's worth asking if it's something that they want.
Sure.
Yeah. You guys have any questions about the proposal?
No, it looks fine to me. I mean, and if the signs as they are came to the design review board, I don't have a problem with them
Right.
myself. I do see the need for them, by the way, with regard to the layout and what they're directing people to. But are we being asked now to approve as presented, or to approve just signs without the logo, or?
I would say you could
Wait.
approve as presented if you so selected, with the forwarding on to the zoning board of appeals.
Right.
If so decided, on to the zoning board of appeals for any secondary signage. So approve the ground sign as is, and then forward the zoning board of appeals for any of the interior signage that's considered secondary.
Right.
Got it. And that way, if it's just considered directional, they don't need to go to ZBA.
Correct.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Is this sign already up?
Unfortunately, it is. That was our mistake. We did go by all the guidelines. We did not see the portion where it has to go before the design review board.
Well, and luckily you didn't choose colors you chose some normal colors. Like if there would have been some neon in there and lots of bright colors, we've had to take down signs. But this
Well,
one does seem pretty,
Autumn House is rather conservative in their
Yeah.
approach, so.
yeah. Any questions from you? If not, I'd look for a motion.
I move to approve the ground sign as installed and approve the directional signs with the logo, subject to ZBA approval.
Motion by Clerk Brooke,
Support.
support by Treasurer Shostak. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That does pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
So next, we have site improvements, and we have 5112 Inkster Road with the Walnut Pump Station. So again, we'll start with Andrea, and then the applicant can come up after.
Okay, so we have before you a request by the Oakland County Water Resource Commission to do some improvements to an existing pump station. We had an opportunity to meet, it was our engineering department, as well as Patty and I, as well as members from our building department, had an opportunity to sit down and meet with the applicants a couple months ago. If you can recall, if some people were on the board a few years ago, there was a very similar project that was constructed within the township. And I can have the applicant certainly speak to more details, but I can present to you what the proposal is and answer any questions that I can. So this is an existing pump station. It's located here on Inkster Road, as you can see up here on your screen. I think the aerial is a better example, so we can get an understanding of how this does. This is located along the Wing Lake Road, or Wing Lake, not road, Wing Lake. And what you can see, so they already have utilities there that need improvements. So what this project includes, it includes pump replacements, what they refer to as a hot box, which I suppose I could probably get a little more information in terms of what the hot box function is. But I can tell you that pump station building that they are looking to construct, that you do have an elevation within, well, let me just go through the site plan first. Okay, so this is the layout of, this is the demolition plan, my bad. So this is the existing site plan as it is. So there's already utilities out there. There is already a pump station, but they are looking to do some improvements and do some utility, do some electrical upgrades, as well as constructing the new pump house. So this is the layout. They are proposing to have a 6-foot fence. So that would have to go to the zoning board because it is located in the Inkster Road frontage and it is 6 feet high. This is an example of the materials of the pump house. So they are of a, they do have a metal roof material, as well as you can see that they're using a brick material for the structure itself, and the actual gross building floor area is 308 square feet. I do want to make a note that we did have an opportunity to share this submittal prior to this meeting with Angela Heisinger, our township engineer, and she did provide a cover memo dated March 18th, 2024, back to the applicant indicating the various permits and the requirements that they would need to complete this project. And they do note that there is going to be and the applicant can speak to this, there will be some tree removal to allow for this construction, and so that would require a tree preservation permit with the application. So with that, I would be happy to have the applicants come up here and really kind of explain the process and the project.
No, it's not Wing Lake, it's Walnut Lake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
I've been trying to figure out where in my head on Wing Lake, because I'm like,
It's Walnut
you
Lake.
mentioned
Walnut
Wing
Lake.
Lake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I live
Walnut
on Wing
Lake.
Lake, so I'm like, I
Sorry.
don't know ever seeing this on the lakes. Okay.
You want to use the
So it's
pointer, you
Walnut
can.
Lake. Okay. I've been racking my brain. That's why I keep
So,
looking.
the pump station has been here for a considerable amount of time. I believe it was built in the, this one was built, I believe, in the late 60s, early 70s. There's an existing building there. Our plan is to redo the roof on the building. Brick will stay the same. The building currently has a, what we call a can station. So there is a metal structure below grade that houses a lot of the equipment that we plan on removing from below grade to provide better safety for personnel. Currently, if someone has to go out there in the middle of the night and access that structure below grade, there's really no way for them to make a phone call, or if there's an emergency, it's not the safest condition. So our intent is to convert the adjacent manhole here into a wet well, where we'll have the pumps housed, and then the area around it will be leveled out to provide access to remove pumps as needed. And then there, with the hot boxes, is basically a structure over some valving and piping that'll be above grade. It looks like an aluminum structure, and that'll sit over there to keep the water, sewage water, in the pipes and valves from freezing. And then, like I said, our plan is to redo the fencing around the property. The property is not owned by Oakland County. We have a permanent easement with the adjacent property owner who has, it's an association that has access for all their residents off that are not on the lake. And we have obtained temporary easement for construction in this area here. And like I said, our plan is to redo the fencing around the facility, clean up some of the grading issues that are around this site, and then clean up some of the old trees and stuff that have grown through the fencing and whatnot.
Can you review
The fencing material will be 6 foot, black painted aluminum fence. And then our intent was to put a fabric between the lake and this side of the fence, so that we're not blasted by the winds coming off. In the wintertime, or in the summertime, it's not an issue, but in the wintertime, it gets pretty cold with the wind coming off the lake, to minimize any, people freezing. So we've had issues in the past where the snow and stuff blows through there, and it's difficult to access the hatch over here and some of the other stuff. So hopefully that screening will provide some wind resistance. And then there are 2 trees on the property. I believe they predate, I think they were there for a while. We're going to have to cut those down.
You have a picture of the property to show what it is?
Yep.
That'll be easier to see on this, what you're talking about.
Yeah, so there's these 2 trees right here that need to be cut down because they're hanging over where we need to have a crane up to do the work to facilitate the improvements, as well as future maintenance for removing pumps in and out of the wet well. So yeah, oop. Yeah. Oh, that doesn't want to come up on there, does it? Oh, did I break it? Oh, probably didn't break it.
How will you be able to screen the 6-foot aluminum fence with, it doesn't look like there's green space to plant trees in?
We're putting a black non-woven mesh.
How will you screen that?
That would be the screen from the wind. Our intent was not to put any kind of vegetation along the roadway. That's currently being used for parking because that site is pretty,
So this would be a fence that's not screened?
Correct.
So
Correct.
screening to us is also something that needs to be screened. Screening to us is greenery, landscape, so.
I've
this would be
gone through that
approving a
before,
A 6-foot tall fence with no screening.
correct.
Could they screen it? Is there locations to plant trees to screen it?
We did have that discussion, and then there was a concern regarding the wind impact coming off the lake, and then they felt, the applicant feels that by utilizing the windscreen, that would be a better option for them, but it's certainly something that we can be open to discussion about.
So on our permanent easement, it's a pretty tight location.
Yeah.
If we were to put any kind of trees, it would be on the property owner that we have the permanent easement from. So we'd have to get permission from that property owner to put fencing up or put screening
Trees.
up, trees.
Right.
What we've done at other properties, when we have the space to do the work, we have put in vegetation, arborvitaes or some sort of other greenery. But like I said, the fence is right on the edge of the right-of-way between the road and the property line. And then the backside is pretty much all beach area utilized by the beach association.
So it will block the view of the beach area and everything from the people that live right there, and now they not only won't see a beach, they're gonna see a big black wall.
No,
No greenery in front of it.
well, currently there is a older fence that is there. There is an existing fence around the property.
That lets people see through?
We do have
Chain link?
a material on the fence that provides some wind protection between the,
But it's a chain link fence, isn't it?
yes, it is chain
Yeah,
link
it's
fence.
not a solid aluminum fence.
No, it is not a solid aluminum fence, but there is a mesh on this part of the fence right now that blocks the wind from blowing across the property. And then also provides some privacy for the beach goers. And then the building sits over here, so there's no way that anyone can see from over here into the property. I wish I would have gotten a picture from the roadway looking at the
That's what I'm
property.
concerned about, is the roadway to the property.
Yeah. Yeah, between the fence here, between the edge of the road and the fence line that's existing, it's maybe 15 feet, 20 feet.
Is this the same fence that extends from the property next door?
No, that's not what
Sure.
I'm looking for.
Is there fencing that's going from the property next door too?
There is existing fence from the property going across the front of all the way
access
across
to
the front of the
Google
site
Earth?
there.
He's looking it up.
Okay,
And
from
then-
the computer?
Fence that keeps on going to the property that has the beachfront access?
Yeah. Can you get on Google?
That's what I was just asking her, go to Google Earth, just pull it up.
Did you find it?
Yeah, yep.
These engineers and architects seem to be a lot better on getting on Google Earth than I am, very quick. He's got it right here.
Oh, do you have a,
I'm sorry. Go ahead and put it underneath here.
is there a light on? So that is facing the pump station from the road. So here's Inkster. That's the far right side of the property.
Yeah, so that's the north end, and then, as you can see, we kind of park in front of there because it's not a big footprint.
See how you can see through that fence? They're not gonna be able to see through anymore, the people who bought the view property on the other side of that street. Is there any way that you could still do a chain link the way you do it now and just go?
Yeah, I think there's only one property owner on the other side of the fence.
Because he bought quite a few properties.
Yeah, they're a little higher up. We,
What do you guys think?
I can't honestly tell much from this picture. It's a little
Yeah.
hard, it's hard to see.
You could see the water.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can definitely see water.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And so
And I
like,
see there's the fence goes in front of the building, and
Right.
it keeps on going.
Yeah, you can see the water right here.
Yeah, you can see the beach
Yeah.
and the water. That's what I mean, like, so there's a big difference between one that's see-through fence, and normally we don't like chain link. So I appreciate that you're going for aluminum, which we normally like, but without being able to screen the aluminum, now you've also taken away any view. It's gonna be really over the top, seeing a 6-foot black aluminum
that's what,
fence.
there's currently a fence there that's 6 feet.
But that's a chain link that you can see
Yeah.
right through, and you
Yep.
see beach and you see water. You'll now see this. Like, there's a big difference. It's just, you have to at least see that that is not the same view that they're gonna have, right? We can agree on that like see-through and non-see-through is
Yeah.
different? Okay.
Yeah, I think the
Just wanna make
people-
sure we're at least on that path
I
together.
think people will be happy with the improvements we're making, because I think there's been a little, like I said, I think with a couple of the trees that we do take down, I think there'll be a better view of the lake from
Until
the
you
roadway.
put the fence up.
I guess their point was,
I do believe
First
those-
Cross Street's higher up, so they see.
Okay, I mean, you
they see
guys
better.
can vote on any way you want.
I'm just saying, just for clarity.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's no good answer. I hate to say it, there's no good answer. If, I would love not to have to put up a fence, but, at the end of the day, we need to provide safety to the facility. And also, the screening is not necessarily for privacy, it's more for just safety, because like I said, that, I don't know if you've been out there in the wintertime.
Yeah,
but
one
that-
of our board members actually has access there. I've been there. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Has the HOA been considered? Have they weighed in on if they're okay with it? Because that would go a long way
We do have a signed easement with the HOA.
of the fence. They're good with the fence going
Yeah,
up.
yeah, they were not concerned with any of the work we're doing or what we're planning on doing out there. We have, like I said, we've gained a temporary easement to do the work from them.
And they knew a 6-foot black fence.
Yep.
Non-screened was going up.
Yeah. That's what's currently there. Like I said,
There's a chain link fence right there. It's not currently there. There's no, can you show me the 6-foot aluminum fence that's there right now?
Can you not screen just the frontage and then screen
I
the
mean,
back
what,
fence?
if you told them you're putting in what's currently there, that is not the same as a 6-foot black aluminum fence that you're saying it's not, you can't see through it?
no, so the 3 sides of the facility will be the same chain link fence. The side on the west side between the beach and the back side of the pump station will have a mesh on it,
on a chain link fence.
on the chain link fence.
So it's all chain link.
It's all chain link. Sorry,
Okay.
maybe I wasn't
Because
making myself clear. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
So it's not a solid, somebody said solid aluminum fence.
We had that conversation
Which is
of-
different than even aluminum line fence like this that you can still see through, but I heard solid aluminum fence.
That was,
Okay.
yeah.
That's why I was so
No,
thrown.
no, I get where you're coming from now.
Okay.
So it'll be a chain link fence. Currently, it's green.
Okay,
The new fence will be black.
Okay.
Hopefully, it blends
Oh,
better into the
good.
background. There'll just be the fabric on the west side
okay.
of the fence line between us and the beach for wind protection.
There's fabric
Oh,
there
that's-
now.
Yeah, no,
There is a fabric there now, correct?
Yeah, the
This
difference.
is new, replacing the old, but essentially doing the same thing. Chain link fence, same height,
Yes.
No,
different
six-
color,
Yep.
and there's wind barrier between the building and the lake, and there will be wind barrier between the building and the lake.
Correct.
And it's not a solid fence, it's a link fence.
Same as it is now.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big difference, in a good way.
Yeah, no, I'm
That's a
sorry,
good
yeah.
thing. Does anybody
Yeah,
have a
sorry for the
question?
confusion, but
Oh,
yeah,
that's okay.
You guys work for WRC?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Any other security features that you have or need to ensure the facility is?
No, With the fence, usually keeps most people away. We'll have some locks on the access hatches into the wet well, and on the building, there'll be a lock, so that no one can get into the building. But other than that, our intent is to keep pretty much everything the same. We are adding a little fill on the north end so that it's more of a flat surface to work off of. And then we're going to do some paving in the front there.
Okay.
We've obtained a,
I just want to make sure there weren't any other security enhancements that you wanted that were
no.
an issue or something. Okay.
I just also want to comment too that they did identify on their site plan that they are not within the natural features, so there's no impacts to the natural feature setback. I just want to clarify that.
Anything
Not a
else?
floodplain?
I feel a lot better if you could
very
help me get
close.
a sinkhole patched on Maple that we would be waiting the WRC to do. So, I know that's not your
Can
area.
you make it contingent on fixing the sinkhole on Maple
Is
that
it one of our-
WRC hasn't fixed?
is it one of our sewers?
It's a
It's a
WRC.
pipe that's caused a sinkhole on Maple Road.
Yeah, we've had meetings with
months.
WRC, RCOC, and us, and it all.
Oh,
Take that, yeah.
I'm somewhat familiar with this.
We're
I
just
think there's
waiting for
still
it to
a
get fixed.
debate on the ownership,
But
but
I think they all know now whose it is.
Oh, okay.
WRC is supposed to do the work,
They
and
own it,
RCOC is going to pay for it.
okay.
Yeah.
So
But they're not doing the work.
we're facilitating the fix, but we don't own it. That's okay.
Right, so can you do it?
I will make a phone call after this meeting
That'd
to
be great.
talk to our other
See?
chief engineer.
Ask
All right,
and you
no,
shall
that's right.
receive.
All right, so what
Do we have a
do we need a motion for?
I move to approve as presented.
And it does have to go to the zoning board for the 6-foot fence,
Subject to
fence in
the
the front yard, and the pump house.
Yeah, I
Subject
think
to
we're
ZBA.
going in front of the ZBA on Tuesday, right?
Yeah. So motion by Clerk Brooks,
Support.
support by Treasurer Shostak, all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? That does pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next, we have 1401 Club Drive, Forest Lake Country Club, and we'll start again with Andrea, and then you guys can go next.
Okay, next up, we have 1401 Club Drive, better known as Forest Lake Country Club. And they came to us a couple months ago with some improvements along Club Drive, which included some piers and some walls to help delineate the entrance and to improve their entrance into their country club. And so now they've decided to continue with their improvements, and they are seeking now, so this is the overall view of the site plan that you guys saw a couple months ago that included, you can see the walls and the greenery within the front, and you can see that rectangular square there that in the white, and that is referred to as a, I guess in golfing terms, a starter building. They currently have a starter building there. However, when they tried to relocate it, they had some issues with the structure, from my understanding. And so now they have selected to construct a new, or seek approval to construct a new starter building. I do have elevations of what it's going to look like. It's partially enclosed, and then it's just canopied over in a portion of it. The overall dimensions of this structure are, it does not exceed 14 feet in height. It is a 22-foot by 9-foot by 13-foot high starter booth. So this would require a trip to the Zoning Board of Appeals because it's an accessory structure, as well as the fact that it's located in the frontage. But it is similar to something they currently have out there. This is an improvement and an upgrade. So I can certainly have the applicant speak to their desire to do this improvement, but here you can see the elevations that were provided. And another element that they're looking to add is a rather unique feature. It's a clock, for lack of a better term. It is a decorative clock that they would wish to add to their site, and I can show you on the site plan. So here you can see the graphic, the rendering, if you will, of that starter house, and then you can also see on this site plan, you can see the location, the yellow circle would denote the location of that decorative clock. The decorative clock, we will take that, we will include that as an accessory structure because it's a rather substantial structure, and it is 17 feet high, so it would require a variance for the height. So those are the two elements that Forest Lake Country Club is here requesting the board to consider and move it on to the Zoning Board of Appeals if you so choose.
Can you go back to the rendering that just shows them both?
Sure. Yeah, you can see the clock there kind of in the back.
You guys want to come up and introduce yourselves? That's Ryan.
I'm Ryan Moore, Superintendent of Forest Lake Country Club, and this is Jason Orchard, one of our Board of Directors, Vice President this year. This plan's been evolving. We already had approval for the walls. Our hopes were we had a smaller starter shack, which didn't have an overhang area, which was there. I did submit pictures of us trying to move it.
Yes, it's in your packet.
It was pretty good effort, and by the time we kind of set it down, it just kind of went, "Mrrr." So it is not in current existence. It's just bare ground in that area. So when I approached the board, what do we do about this? And we kind of had this in mind. We never really have a shaded area for our membership, nor the caddies, nor the staff that works out there, so they're subject to all the elements year long. So that's why we decided to extend the roof line of the building to kind of create more of an open space for people to get in and out of the elements. So that's why. So we went from a 9x9 building to a 9x10 with a 13-foot overhang, so it makes it 22-foot long roof line. In the meantime, the membership, because they're very proud of Forest Lake staying in existence from years ago, wanted kind of a momentum or a memorial for the existing members. They wanted to add a clock, so this was member funded, and they said, Ryan, where can we place this in this great plan you came up with? So as you can see in the background, that's the location for the clock. It is 17 foot, but it's very common with many country clubs. It's kind of, I don't even know what you call it. It's just part of a country club. So these elements are very consistent with, you know, your Pine Lakes, your Orchard Lakes, your Oakland Hills. So Forest Lake desires to have these things. We feel in this plan, again, we talked about a lot, our neighbor, our closest neighbor to the clock is 300 and something feet across the road, and we're the ones that face the clock, so you really have to triangulate. I guess FE Steel, which would be our next member, would probably be 260 feet from that clock.
Have you talked to them about it? Are they good with it?
FE Steel is a member. She is good with it. Across, we have not talked to all the residents, but 2 of them are members that donated to pay for the clock, so
Then they're probably good with it.
they probably are good for it, so. But we can have those conversations if desired. It's pretty flat, that picture, when we got it developed, so it doesn't show all the landscape, so the clock kind of sets kind of down on one side, so it kind of buries in the landscape a little bit, even though elevation-wise, we do want it visible for the membership to see, stay on track with their tee times, that sort of stuff, so. Any questions with that? The one thing with the building when we went back, when I got all the reclaimed brick which matched the clubhouse, we have enough brick to actually fully brick. If you can go back to the drawings. So we have hardy plank in the original design. Is there a big design change if we just bricked instead of the hardy plank?
Give you an improvement.
That'd be a
Can I ask for
preference.
approval at the time, or put that,
What is hardy plank?
Hardy plank is what I
It's
have
the
on my house.
horizontal planking that's on by the window.
like a cement board now? It used to be like a wood planking and you paint it. Over time it deteriorates a little bit. Brick's more of a stable.
So all of the brick that we have shown there, it's all reclaimed brick. That's what we used on the wall, so it all matches the 100-year-old building
Yeah.
that we're in. So we actually used less brick on the wall and have enough to do this all in the same brick. If we can, it just came at, we figured that out after we did the
Yeah.
design.
Oh, that's definitely an upgrade in my mind.
I'd agree.
Much like we tied the WRC one, can we tie something, a consistent complaint we get from one of your neighbors about making sure that we finish the soil and issues that are in the front there from Mr. Basha?
I believe that's what
That's underway, yes.
Okay.
So,
As
Mr.
long as we know
Basha,
that is getting fixed.
Yeah, no,
Very familiar
we
with that.
removed 250 yards of material out of there, and we
Because that had escalated
fence.
to the county.
And you repaired
So
the fence.
that's,
We did put a thing on the fence. Long-term, we got to figure out how to divisible, because what Mr. Basha doesn't understand is he's kind of on our property, so there's like a triangle that's divided. We have a fence there that's always been there, but we own 12 to 15 feet on his side of that fence. So there's,
So his demands to fix the fence, if we were gonna fix the fence, we'll probably put it on a property line. And he's not gonna, so it's kind of like,
yeah.
we don't want to create conflict and we don't need the extra space, but if we're gonna invest into the fence, it's gonna go
Right.
work on the property.
Well, that's a valid,
then it'll need to
that's a
be,
valid thing,
it'll
though.
need to be vegetated. There's high trees, so we can't really arbor them. It's,
Yeah.
it's a difficult situation, so we hope to clean up and
I
be
think it was
good
the
neighbors.
cleanup. The cleanup is what I've heard about. I haven't heard
Yeah,
about
so
replacing
with
it.
Chris Myers and stuff, he's been by.
Okay,
It's all almost done,
perfect.
but a lot of material has
We
come up
figure it
here.
worked with the last one, we have to ask for
Yeah,
this
no,
one.
we're doing good.
Well, I think it looks great, and I'm very pleased with how you guys have improved and stepped up your game over the last few years, and getting new members and keeping them happy, so I think that's great.
It's a really, it looks beautiful what you're putting in there.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Anybody want?
Yeah, I agree. I also really like the memo you did, which summarized what's going on. It's addressed to ZBA, but, we've got it too, so it was,
I kind of put it at both, I wasn't sure.
Yep.
They were going to the
I
same
liked it.
person, I'm like,
It's
here it
always
is.
helpful to get more
It's always good to
information.
get a description from the applicant. I don't tend to be as
helpful.
eloquent.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve the starter house and the clock as presented, subject to approval by the ZBA.
Motion by Treasurer Shostak,
support.
support by Clerk Brooke. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
guys.
Looks great.
Looks wonderful. Next, we have our general business of recent design review board approvals. Are there any to discuss?
I have nothing to add.
All right, then we have our next meeting date on Wednesday, April 17th. With that, I look for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Motion by Clerk Brooke.
Support.
Support by Treasurer Shostak. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes.
Thank you.